This is the latest disbursement update in the grant community coming from the young man in charge of Olivia TV. He came out telling the masses about what is going on about disbursement and when it will be disbursed. Listen, he came out early this month telling us about this same issue. Let's wait for him and see how it will play out as he promised disbursement to kick off early next week. Thanks for joining us. Pay attention to him.
Here because there are signs of disbursement again. We have feedbacks that disbursement is going to start next week. Most importantly, what we will consider in this session today are: 1, the entitlements of beneficiaries; 2, the factor of IMF, pioneers, government NGO; and finally, the expected weekday in next week for disbursement to take place. Let's quickly address the first topic of this session, which is the government NGO, the pioneers, the CBN slot that is popular right now in the grant ecosystem. You might have been aware that there are so many grant foot soldiers or stakeholders that are promoting the subscription of government NGO, pioneers, and CBN slots. What you need to know about all this is that the pioneers, the CBN slots, and the government NGO, they all amount to one thing. These promoters are using this name as a subject head to collect or raise funds to the grant handlers, not as if CBN slot or the pioneers and government NGO are separate activities. They are all names that different individuals, different factions choose to be able to drive funds for the grant handler which they are currently working with. And the factor of if it is genuine, because most of the grant subscribers on this platform are asking me if the CBN slot is genuine, if the pioneer is genuine, or the government NGO is genuine. For the government NGO, right from 2023, it was ongoing, even among the factions of the UAAG. So many UAAG foot soldiers, the likes of Iron Lady, Brenda, Osim, Hodev, they sold government NGO slots, Pascal, Anyanwu, and the likes. And some of their foot soldiers are still selling it remotely amongst the WhatsApps and the Telegram groups. But in the advent of 2025 was the CBN slot and the pioneers, although the government NGO subscription is still ongoing for some factions. But some of these promoters are not genuine. The activities has been hijacked by fraudsters, scammers. So don't ask me if the government NGO slot or the CBN and the pioneers are genuine. First, find out the status of who you are subscribing with amongst the grant handler. If this individual you are subscribing the CBN slot, the government NGO slot, and the pioneer slot with is directly working with the grant handler, because if they work with the grant handler, when disbursement takes place, they will be able to reconcile your payment and ensure you collect your ROI. But if they were not in any way connected to grants, they will not be able to pay you. That means you might have subscribed in vain. So who is the promoter of the CBN slot, the government NGO slot, and the pioneer that you subscribe with? It's left for you to address this. And not actually registration for grant is ongoing. Registration ended since the era of UAAG verification and screening exercise. After the NGO verification, there was no more registration for grants. Every other registration you might have made are all arrangements to raise funds to be able to facilitate the process of disbursement. In my real understanding of all this activity, the grant handlers are residing in Abuja. They are foot soldiers that are moving from point A to B, are looking for this money either to pay their transportation around the FCT or Lagos State in weeks they are in Lagos or Abuja, then take a flight, pay for their flight ticket across the state, and again pay for their hotel accommodation, because individuals that might have left their home, we are aware of most of these people, they left their home since August 2023 to Abuja. They are no more working, and if their businesses are no more managed effectively by capable hands, you don't expect them to be making profit far back in their states to be able to sustain them in Abuja or Lagos, which they are. I think Pastor Binwagbo in UAAG left the Abuja last 2024 December or so. That implies they were still in Abuja since 2023, moving to 2024 before eventually returning to his state. So imagine those periods he was there. That is why you see people raising money in the name of CBN slots, pioneers, and the government NGO as logistics to facilitate their movement, feeding, and accommodation. Then they will be able to sort you out when they receive their money, since the fund will be in the custody of their grant handler. So at that instance, they will be able to settle you or profile you to receive the fund, just like every other NGO that appeared in Abuja for the screening and verification exercise. 2, the factor of IMF, World Bank, International Court of Justice that is popular recently. You were told that the grant was rejected to be disbursed by the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria till the IMF arrived and be able to influence them. And the matter was taken to International Court of Justice. There are several twists to this story, but the important thing for us subscribers right now is not the process. So don't bother yourself if IMF were here, if World Bank representative were here. At a point, we question why the World Bank and the IMF will be in Nigeria without AIT, NTA, and Channels Television capturing all of them from the airport to Aso Rock where they meet the president. The IMF and the World Bank doesn't relate with individuals, they relate with the government of the country. And when we were questioning the genuineness of this information, they simply told us that it was their representative of low status, which doesn't warrant the presence of the government of Nigeria at the airport to receive them. There's no way the IMF, the World Bank representative, will appear in the airport in Nigeria without the government of the day or the foreign minister being there to receive them in the sites of NTA, Channels, and AIT. However, whether they were here or not is not our concern. But what matters at the moment is those activities, whether right or wrong, whether truth or lies, has finally moved us from a state of skepticism, a state of uncertainty and fear, to a state of certainty. Activities towards disbursement was ongoing after the new year. It proceeded in the 1st and 2nd week of February. The 3rd week, most of those activities was finally achieved. And finally, as we are here, as a Monday, we were briefed that the money left a certain account that it was into the Apex Bank account. That led us to the 3rd topic of this session, which is the hierarchy of flow of disbursement. Disbursement is not going to start first with the NGOs. Remember, the money is already with the Apex Bank, and there are grant handlers that has been approved to partake in this disbursement. As a fact, so many grant handlers were disqualified from partaking in this disbursement, and they started fighting the process to ensure there is not going to be disbursement if their NGO are not captured to disburse to their own masses. The next question will be, who are those that have been approved to receive money from the Apex Bank account to disburse to their own audience of beneficiaries? UAAG is there, AGPGN approved, St. Rita approved, Mama Supreme approved. For Theobarth Global Foundation, I'm not still sure for now, but before the end of this week, we will confirm if Theobarth will partake in this disbursement. There was a voice note of a new man, the ambassador of Theobarth Global Foundation, claiming that they are the only eligible foundation to disburse to the masses. And ask yourself, despite the antecedent of extortion, of frustration of the masses by Theobarth Global Foundation, so government will still approve them to disburse. We are not praying against Theobarth not disbursing. We are praying that let the beneficiaries or subscribers under Theobarth Global Foundation receive this fund, whether directly or indirectly. What this statement means is that some of these grant handlers were asked to submit their NGO list, their schedule, the list of NGO under them, to a certain grant handler to disburse to all his own audience of NGO subscribers, and they resisted this new policy. They want to receive the money by themselves and disburse to their own beneficiaries or NGO who registered under them. Hence, they will be able to manipulate this process or victimize some NGO who later protested against their extortive and manipulative antics. They want to victimize their NGOs because at a certain time when they requested for more funds to be pumped to their account, those NGO resisted and they blacklisted them. They want to receive the money now, hence they will remove those NGOs from their list. Government is already aware of this. The donors of this fund are already aware of this. And they want to disburse to everyone who has been in this struggle since the past 9 years. But they are resisting it. These are all factors that constituted delay of disbursement. Some even fight the process in the way that if they are not the one to disburse to others, let there be no disbursement, not minding the plight of the masses. So the whole crisis has been a factor of greed, self-centeredness, and tribalism. But thank God for intervention of external forces. There is finally a reconciliation of factions. NGOs or grant handlers that are to disburse to the masses has been approved and profiled. In days ahead, they will receive the fund and disburse to you, the NGO. After the fund is received by the grant handler next week, will come a period of screening and verification again. This period may not be traveling around the state, but it may be strictly a digital screening where MOUs will be rolled out for those NGOs that's registered under certain grant handlers to sign. Yes, you can't receive this money without having an agreement on how you are going to disburse the fund to your beneficiaries. If that is achieved in this country, with the kind of character of people we have in this country, the money will be received, but it will never get to beneficiaries. So there must be a pact between the grant handler and the NGOs that protect the recipient to receive this fund at a certain given point in time. This implies if disbursement starts next week, it will not get directly to the beneficiaries. It will have to be a period of verification of agreement between the grant handler and the NGO. So disbursement is scheduled to take a full stretch of March. And you might ask, when precisely is it taking place? It's not in my place to give you date. But from circulating fact, disbursement is going to start on Tuesday and Wednesday next week. If it change, don't crucify Jolivia TV. That is the information we have at our custody right now. Disbursement is starting Tuesday, Wednesday next week. But it's going to move from the Apex Bank to the account of the grant handler. The grant handler will sign MOU, undergo certain pacts and agreements with the NGOs. Then the NGOs will be given a period to disburse to their beneficiaries. So that implies the entire March will be followed by sequential progress from one step to the next. And what concerns us at the moment is let the money drop first from the Apex Bank account to the account of the grant handler. And as a fact, there's a source of information that assures us that the money has already been deposited in the account of the grant handler. It's confirmed. There was another information on Wednesday and Thursday last week that disbursement has started with some certain government NGO accounts or officials. Next stage is to the stakeholders. That is where you hear that disbursement will start first with the government NGO, CBN slot, or the pioneers. These are people that they collected money to fund the logistical aspects of disbursement. So they will start with settling those names. It now progress to the NGOs who appeared at Abuja for verification and screening exercise. But what matters at the moment is the asset has moved from the Apex Bank account to a certain account that will dispense to every other account that will disperse to the NGOs and the beneficiaries. And what we are anticipating right now is let the fund move from the grant handlers account to the NGO account. And again, there are circulating rumors that after government NGO disbursement take place, the next disbursement will be in June for UAAG to disburse to NGOs that went for verification in Abuja. Please discountenance this information. Disbursement may take place in batches, but not in lengthy period of time, not in quarterly sketch. Disbursement is starting in one particular source, not from all other sources that you hear, but this one source will disburse to all the names of grant handler you know. For example, disbursement moves to that Apex NGO account, to UAAG account, AGPGN account, Mama Supreme account, St. Rita's account, Theobarth account, if he will be qualified to disburse. That same source dispense to all other grant handlers, and they will be given a timeline to disburse to their NGOs. Then the NGOs will be given a timeline to disburse to their beneficiaries. There are other information sources defending that the reason for UAAG going to disburse in June is to curb inflation or not to trigger inflation in the country. Is far from that. These are some of those factors that causes confusion and distraction in the grant ecosystem. There is no way circulation of funds in the country in high volumes will call for inflation. Most importantly, this money is not physical cash. They are electronic cash in bank accounts. And already we have witnessed scenarios where the CBN restrained the circulation of cash. So there are already existing structures of regulating the economy, regulating cash flow in the country. If there are high influx of cash from the grant handlers to the respective commercial bank accounts of the beneficiaries, that is never an excuse. If there will be inflation with funds circulating in massive volume in the country, then the CBN know exactly what to do to restrain the presence of physical cash in the country, or to restrain the transfer of high volumes of cash per time by some non-current or non-corporate accounts. Therefore, ensure you receive your alert immediately disbursement commences. There's no such thing like quarterly disbursement as being circulated. Those information are simply cooked up just to defend themselves if they will not receive funds to disburse to you that subscribe under them. As a fact, not all grant handlers will disburse this fund to the masses because of the antecedents, because of their criminal and exploitative antecedents. Ensure you receive the fund when everyone receives, as is starting in this March we are entering. Yes, this week is out. Don't expect disbursement over this weekend. Expect it next week. Now, finally, the last topic of this session is the entitlement of beneficiaries. The last time we had a communication with these authorities, it was revealed that beneficiaries will be entitled to 3 million naira for those that are receiving the grant disbursement, while those that subscribe to the palliative will receive between 50,000 to 300,000 naira, the AGPGN palliative. But recently, there have been adjustments over the course of the new year till last week, February. They are reviewed. The ranks that are supposed to receive the 3 million are now going to receive 10 million naira per beneficiary, according to this source. 10 million naira per beneficiaries. That is the new proposal for disbursement. But what matters is, even if it is 1,500,000, let it come to the masses. Those with business mindset, entrepreneurs, artisans, vocational artists, and the likes, with multiplicative mindset, will be able to multiply whatsoever resources is in their custody. So this is a good news all of the grant subscribers right now should be living with. Move from seeing yourself in a state of skepticism to a state of seeing you receiving the fund and utilizing it in your businesses. See yourself in a life after you have received the fund, you withdraw it, invest in your businesses, you see your business expanding, employing capable hands, moving from having 10 staffs to 50 staffs in your institution. As an NGO, move from seeing yourself expecting disbursement to having a franchise that is making millions of naira, traveling around the world, in Canada, in China, in America, in UK, doing business. And as a fact, Julivia TV is planning to launch a very strong artificial software network in the global space. We will partner with NGOs to launch this project, and we are here to maximize and leverage on the existing opportunities to make millions for ourselves. If you have questions, drop in on this comment section. If you haven't subscribed to Julivia TV, quickly hit the subscription button and turn on the notification bell. Hence, when we drop our next content, you'll be immediately notified. A lot of people are not getting updates on this channel because they did not turn on the notification bell. Click and select all. That will notify you when we give our next update. We are here for the money. Disbursement is here. For all those who are sick right now, receive healing. All those who have already transited Mother Earth to the great beyond, may your soul rest in perfect peace. Those that live after you will receive disbursement to your glory. And for those that are struggling to eat in a day, hold on. The Lord has already answered your prayer. In few days ahead, you will receive funds that you will eat and be sharing food to others. You move from seeking fund to dispensing fund to those in desperate need. partners in patriotic and humanitarian projects. We will do it together.